Attack on Titan, 10 movie monsters that are creepier than titans. As creepy as the titans can be, they don't hold a candle to some of the most iconic and disturbing creatures from throughout movie history. There are many manga and anime series that quickly find their audiences, but Attack on Titan has turned into a genuine phenomenon that will be hard to top. Attack on Titan is popular for its kinetic fight sequences, thrilling plot twists, and so much more, but the monstrous titans at the core of the series are definitely a major factor. These titans are truly horrifying, and some of the more intense moments with these beasts firmly pushes the series into the horror genre. Certain acts of the titans will haunt audiences for the rest of their lives, but there is no lack of gruesome movie monsters that fill the cinema, some of which are even more upsetting than Attack on Titan centerpieces. 10. The Thing takes many forms, all of which would give Titans pause. Most of John Carpenter's movies out of the 1980s are absolute classics, but The Thing is largely considered to be a masterpiece that features ridiculous practical effects that are still impressive to this day. The extraterrestrial creature at the center of The Thing actually bears some similarities to the Titans in the sense that it's able to hide in plain sight in human form. Deception and infiltration is very much this monster's game. But it also exhibits disturbing transformations that defy logic more than any Titan. 9. Pumpkinhead is a creature of vengeance who is constructed by one of the best. Stan Winston is a legendary name in the film industry who's helped innovate special effects through undeniable pieces of technology. Winston has been involved with iconic film creatures like Alien's Xenomorph, the Predator, and Terminator's robots. Pumpkinhead marks Winston's directorial debut, and it results in one of his most awe-inspiring monsters. Pumpkinhead is a monster of pure vengeance who has a gangly figure that's not unlike a Titan in some ways. Pumpkinhead is capable of vicious acts, and he's much more likely to sneak up on his prey than a Titan. His unwavering focus is terrifying. 8. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space present unpredictable terror. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, by the Kyoto Brothers, is a horror cult classic that's just full of unbelievable sequences. The film's titular monsters are aliens that strangely resemble deranged versions of clowns. There are many different killer clowns on display in the film, all of which use different circus tropes to take out perplexed humans. The clowns are already upsetting to look at and have heavy reinforcements, but their abilities break the laws of nature and they're able to do things like weaponize shadow puppets. 7. The Brundlefly highlights the heights of horrific mad science. David Cronenberg is a prolific voice when it comes to body horror, and The Fly showcases some of the director's very best work. The cautionary tale presents Seth Brundle caught in various stages of metamorphosis between his original human appearance and his new fly state. All of these are upsetting, but it's the final transformed form that's the most frightening monster. Its acid vomit is creepier than what most Titans have to offer, and in theory it could even fly around. The Fly 2 presents an even deadlier and more gruesome version of what the Brundlefly can become. 6. Alien's Xenomorph has become an all-time classic sci-fi horror predator. Alien is a sci-fi and horror standout that's been able to fuel a whole universe that's still getting explored with new content to this day. The Alien franchise has gone to some wild places, but it really doesn't have to do much more than to get good use out of the determined Xenomorph. The Xenomorph's design, by H. Art Geiger, is so unique and helped inspire a whole different breed of alien designs. The claustrophobic aspect that this monster is typically restricted to also helps. Xenomorphs also exhibit variety, and it's fascinating to think what a Xenomorph Titan hybrid would look like. 5. Pinhead. His Cenobites perfectly present the horrors of the afterlife. Clive Barker is another formative name in the horror genre who's responsible for some evocative creations that often examine morality, pain, and sacrifice. The Hellraiser series has gotten away from itself, but the first two entries are excellent and every installment still makes an impression because of the design of Pinhead and his fellow Cenobites. The Cenobite's whole pain is pleasure aesthetic is heavy stuff. Pinhead and what he represents are truly horrendous. The Titans are usually blunt tools of destruction and Cenobites are more like precision surgery. They're committed to their trade. 4. The Blob is utterly devastating in its simplicity. The Blob can often get overlooked when it comes to movie monsters, but there's something quite terrifying about an all-consuming mass that can't be reasoned with and doesn't exhibit any signs of rational thought. The Blob, whether it's the 1958 version or the superior 1988 remake, presents a devastating monster that absorbs civilians and consumes everything in its wake. A Titan may initially seem to have the upper hand. But it's chilling to picture the Blob gradually taking over more of a Titan's body and swallowing them whole. It's a truly dangerous creature that shouldn't be underestimated. 3. Belial Bradley from Basket Case makes audiences question humanity. The Basket Case trilogy often blurs the lines between horror and comedy and feel representative of the weirder impulses of the 1980s. But there's still a creepy monster that pushes each of these unusual bloodbaths forward. Belial Bradley is the malformed former conjoined twin to Dwayne Bradley. The two separate. But Dwayne is left to clean up Belial's bloody messes. Belial is considerably smaller than a Titan, but it allows him to consistently attack with the element of surprise and his supposedly limited status never seems to slow him down with Dwayne by his side. 2. Annihilation's alien crawler is a mind-bending monster to contemplate. Alex Garland's Annihilation is one of the higher-minded science fiction films of the past few years. It presents enlightening ideas that are paired together with stunning visuals. The whole film exists with an energy that's both eerie and calming, but its final act verges on horror when Natalie Portman's Lena is presented with a physical manifestation of Area X that functions as an antagonistic doppelganger. This alien threatens to replace Lena and it results in a grueling fight. It's not the biggest or flashiest monster, but what it represents and how it functions make it incredibly worrisome. 1. Pennywise brings out the worst fears in everyone. Stephen King is responsible for countless contributions to the horror genre, whether they're stories or monsters, but Pennywise from IT is certainly one of the most notable and powerful creatures from his literary universe. Pennywise's standard, clown form is enough to creep out most individuals, but this monster is able to shift its shape and capitalize on its victims' greatest fears. This gives Pennywise a special power that most of these monsters lack. It'd also be incredible to see Pennywise terrorize Titans and turn into what they fear most.